Okay, so what exactly is credit? Well, credit is when you borrow money that you eventually have to pay back. Right? And it's commonly used in society in many different ways. Um, One of the ways we use it is for large purchases such as a house or a vehicle. Okay, that's often used. People use credit cards for everyday purchases, like they may use credit cards every time they go shopping, or every time they order something online or something like that. Okay, so all these different, when you borrow money, these different ways, either getting a loan for a big ticket item like a vehicle or a house, or just daily credit card for daily purchases, you have to pay it back. But how you pay it back depends on the type of credit, or depends on what you've done. Have you taken a loan? Have you used a credit card? Have you used overdraft in your bank account, which I'll talk about in a second? Because all of those things are dealt with differently. Credit, very dangerous, because you can get caught owing so much so quickly. Because imagine if you've got a credit card, every time you go and buy something, you're not actually spending any money. You're just giving them the card, you're getting your stuff, and it's like, this is great. But then at the end of the month, or whenever your credit statement is due, you're going to have to pay. And then some people say, okay, well, I'm not going to pay the full amount because I can't afford that much, so I'm going to just pay part of it. Well, the part that you don't pay, they charge interest on. And they keep charging interest on from the moment you bought it. So your credit bill, credit card, can build up really quickly because the interest rates, or what they charge on credit cards, is very high. Like we're talking upwards into 20%. So that's a fair amount of interest you could get paid. You want to go take a loan or something like that, you can get a lower interest rate. But credit cards, they give you a higher interest rate, and we'll talk about that in more detail. So credit, I mean, it can be dangerous if you don't manage it properly. So why do we use it? So here's some different ways. Okay, so like I said, we can use credit for big ticket items. Like if you buy a $700,000 house, chances are you're not going to cash, right? So you've got to borrow some. And when you borrow money for a house, that actually has a specific name that we're going to talk about in the next unit, called a mortgage. Okay. People take personal loans for school and training. They don't really use credit card for that. Like the first two bullets, you wouldn't really use a credit card. Those would be more, well, for like a house, for, a mortgage, or for a vehicle, a personal loan, for school and training, personal loan. Okay. Or you may be able to get a student loan from your institution. Sometimes unexpected costs come up, especially if you own a house. Like, I mean, I had this happen to me last year. I went downstairs one morning, ready to go to work, and my hot water tank ruptured, and there was water everywhere. And hot water tank, that's $3,000 to replace. So right there, it's like, geez. But fortunately, I was able to put it on a credit card. But then what I do with a credit card is, no matter what, I pay it off at the end of the month. No matter what. And if I can't, I don't buy any, or I don't buy some. So, because I don't want to get caught in that trap. If you suddenly become unemployed, this is where credit can be a little dangerous, especially if you start using a credit card while you're unemployed, because you're going to have to start paying a lot of interest, and you're not going to be making the income to pay it. Okay. Sometimes people, and this is sort of what banks do, they use credit to invest to get more interest. So like imagine if you could borrow some money and the interest rate, say, is 5%, but you invest that money and the interest rate you get back is say 8%. Well, you're making money. So you pay back your loan, and then whatever the difference is, that's how much you've made. That's dangerous too. Because if it crashes, or if your investment goes down, now you're in trouble. Credit approval, where do you get it from? Okay. Institutions, financial institutions like banks or other institutions offer pre-approved credit cards. Okay, that's a very common source of credit. When they look to see if you qualify for a credit card or if you qualify, say, for a personal loan, they want to look at different things like your credit rating, which is a score based on how well you paid your past, anything you owed in the past, and what your financial status is. Are you in good shape? Okay. Do you have sort of any current debt right now? If you don't, the more likely you'll be approved for credit. If you do have a debt, like if you've got a credit card that you're paying off, it could be really hard to get another credit card, or it could be hard to get a personal loan. And I'm just going to jump down here. Another thing they do, and there's a whole bunch of different apps for this, and I have one called Credit Karma, where you get a score for your credit report. And oftentimes it could be a score out of 800 or 900, like anywhere from 300 to 900 or something like that. What's my Credit Karma? Here. What's that? Let's show you. Might as well just show you. So Credit Karma, I'm going to log in. Nope. No, I want to. What is this? I want to log in. Log in. Person. Why is it asking me for this? I should just be able. I wonder if I'm in the wrong one. Yes, I'm in the wrong one. Credit Karma. Log in. I think. So there's my score. Okay. There's my score, 900 out of 900. Yes, I am very proud of that. So what does that mean? That means it doesn't mean that I have no debt because I have a mortgage to pay on my house. It's just that the assets I have, like how much the house is worth, how much my income is, how much in investments I have right now, all of those put me in really good shape in that they're saying, well, you don't have to worry about paying that off because you'll be able to pay it off even if the worst thing happens. Credit cards boost this score. Like I said, every time I get a credit statement, I pay the full amount by the due date. As soon as you don't, this starts to drop. Okay. If utilities, like along with a house, you know, you pay for water, you pay for natural gas, you pay for electricity, you pay for TV and internet. What else do you pay for? So, I think I've covered pretty much everything. You don't pay those by the due date, that will start to drop. So it's a whole mix of things that makes up your credit score. So paying everything off regularly should keep this climbing until you reach the highest you can go. Okay? But I think I even remember there was one time I think I paid my FIDO bill a little, it didn't go through till late, and then this drops to like $8.90. right? So it just, so you got to be careful. And it took me a little while to build that back up again to 900.
Will they freeze you if you pay your credit state? Like if it's due the 30th?
No, they're only worried about is it paid by the due date. Yeah, if you pay early, there's no, I don't believe there's any benefit to that. So, so that gives you an idea, that gives you a credit score. And like I said, there's different apps that have different scores, but they're all pretty much the same. Okay, like they analyze your credit score pretty much the same way. And then the last thing, now I'm going to go up here, the types of credit. And I'm going to talk about credit cards, personal and consumer loans later on. But credit cards I've mentioned, okay, you want to try and avoid using them for big purchases like vehicles, houses. Chances are you wouldn't be able to anyway because they wouldn't approve you for that high-end house. Like for example, my Visa card, the maximum I can charge on a Visa card is $10,000. So I couldn't, you know, if I wanted to buy a new vehicle, no, I couldn't do it. I'd either have to pay cash or take out a loan. Okay. And I deliberately keep it low. They keep asking me if I want to increase my my maximum limit, but I say no. I say I'm fine.
Why do they do that? Like my mom does.
Because they're trying to get you to spend more on credit, right? Because that's how credit card companies make their profits. Is a lot of people don't pay the full amounts by the due dates, so they get a lot of money off that interest. And the more you put on it, the more likely it could be that you don't pay the whole thing off. And therefore, then that's when they start getting a profit. Okay. Personal line of credit, that's something that you can get from a bank in which you get a predetermined amount and you can withdraw as much as you want up to that maximum amount. So when I banked at CIBC, this was a while ago, I had a $50,000 line of credit. Doesn't mean I have to use $50,000, but it was there if I needed it. Maybe I wanted to do a major renovation. Okay. Right now, the personal line of credit I have is connected to my house. So they've said, okay, your house is worth this amount. Now we're going to subtract your mortgage, and that gives you a certain amount. Okay, that means it's really called your equity, how much you've put into your house. You can borrow up to that amount if you want, because what they'll do is if you can't pay it off, they'll take your house and they'll sell it and they'll get that money back. Okay. Personal and consumer loans, that's another big one. Okay. These are different amounts. You know, it could be anywhere from a couple of grand up to tens of thousands of dollars. Maybe you take a personal loan because you want to buy a vehicle for $40,000, a new vehicle. And overdraft protection. You guys, if you have a bank account now, you may already have that. What that means is that you can go less than zero on your bank balance. Okay?
Yeah.
And when you go less than zero, overdraft protection kicks in. Obviously, you're going to have to pay it back to get above, but they allow you a certain amount to go below. Okay? And that's what it's sort of a temporary credit. You know, you went below zero, you'll be able to get it back up, but they're going to cover you for the meantime. So that's basically, in a nutshell, about credit as a whole. So then the next time we'll talk about specific types of credit, and we'll get into that, because personal loans, And credit cards are sort of two big ones for credit. So I'm just going to leave it at that.